Hey guys, how you doing? I thought I would give you a quick update as to what the progress sort of looks like with the yellow aircraft 10th scale F-18. One of the most challenging parts to this build so far, surprisingly, has been this bloody canopy. I've literally ordered this thing 3 times and had to cut it 3 different times to try to get it to fit. And not 100% happy with how it turned out, simply because of the amount of handling that had to be done to it and the glue and all that sort of stuff that's now kind of caught up on it. So I'm not happy about that, but it is what it is. Part of the challenge with this is that this little frame here is very, very flimsy, and it broke here. It broke over here, and it also broke during installation with glue and everything right here. So there's a little bit of work that had to be done, a little bit of fiberglass work that had to be done as well, just to make this a bit stronger. Again, this broke twice, this broke once, this broke twice. So a little bit of work and finessing that needed to be done there to get it to work. So hopefully when we paint it, we might be able to just draw a larger band here and maybe paint that, sort of cover up that sort of mess up over there. Next thing, LEDs. So we've got our some of our LEDs installed. I had a custom LED driver built so that it can power directly from 12S and some really bright LEDs, so that's great. I can't remember what the wattage, or not the wattage, yeah, the wattage on those bulbs are, but they're not standard, so they're pretty bright. Gonna have to do a cover for this driver here, and of course this is my step down converter for the 12S setup. This LED we're not going to install and glue right away. We're going to have to wait until after paint and then glue that sucker in. Battery floor. Let's talk about the battery floor. Okay, so we've got the battery floor installed and our rails installed for the battery floor. This is the other piece for the battery floor here. I've already cut my battery straps through, but haven't installed it yet, simply because I have to install the ESC first before I can do that. So once we get that done, then we will be good to go. Next, our other challenge with the LEDs is we need to install these ones as well. And these LEDs are going to be installed just on the outside here as per the livery that we're planning on doing. We can't install those until we got our servos. Finally, I got the servos. It took, like, I don't know, 2.5 months to get the damn things. Now these are very, very thin high voltage servos. I think it's about maybe 10 millimeters wide. They're usually used in like high speed sort of wing, or not, what do you mean? The hotliners, the high speed gliders. So these are the wing servos, and this thing does, believe it or not, this little small servo does about 160 ounce inch. So pretty impressive. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let me see if I can pull one of these suckers out just to show you how small that is. So that's my thumb, and that's literally the servo, and this thing does 160 ounce inch. So really impressive piece of gear here. Okay, so that's our servo. Next, the rails for the EDF. So these were the original rails for the EDF, and I didn't like how thin this was. So once you drive a screw through this, you don't have a lot of meat there on either sides of the screw. So I wasn't too crazy about that. So I did a lot of work to fashion these things. Believe it or not, I know that these look completely different from each other, but believe me when I tell you, this actually fits to make up the battery, or the EDF rails that it's going to be mounted against. And it's much thicker, much beefier. Provides much more structural support and everything, not only just to the EDF but also to the center area of the plane that supports the wings as well, because these wings are completely attached to the fuselage. So this will basically be glued all the way through here, through this side here, up here, and it keys right in to a former that you can see that little hole, a square hole right there is what it keys into. So this will definitely be much more structurally sound as opposed to this piece of crap. Alright, so next. I'm not going to flip the plane over, as you can see. It's because a lot of crap to get off there to flip it over. So I'm just going to do this. Hopefully you guys can see this. So that's our wing servo that we've put in. And I actually glued it in rather than make a box. And the reason being is because the plate that I'd make the box on, I think was a little thin. I just didn't trust it, so I'd rather do this, have it glued in, then have the plate over top of the servo. So I've got pressure from the glue, I got pressure from the plate, and I'm going to put two little formers on either sides of the servo to make sure it doesn't twist or move. The glue that's on there anyways, it shouldn't move, but nonetheless, I think overkill is better than not taking extra precautions. So clevises, we've got the clevises installed. However, I think I'm going to move it a little further up onto the aileron here, because there's more solid wood here. So I think that's what I'm going to try to anchor it to. Next thing. Alright, sorry for all the shaking in the camera here, guys. So this is the actual servo box that we're going to be using to cover this thing. So as you can see, it's pretty thin. So I didn't want to make, mount the servo to this, because I just don't like how, I don't know, flimsy, whatever you want to call it. I tried mounting servo box to it, and I just did not like that at all. This is definitely much more solid. And let's see if I can show you a comparison here of the other servo boxes that I have and why I changed my mind and just decided to glue it in. If you look at this, this is a real servo box. Now this servo box is from my Black Horse Viper, and you can see that this is much more solid. It's a thicker, much thicker wood. You can definitely make a solid box out of this, whereas with this one, I didn't trust it to do it. So hence the reason why we decided to do it that way. So that's the update for now. So hopefully this weekend we can get these rudder servos put in and get the lighting, LED lights done for that. And then it's on to these elevators. We're still trying to figure these out, so we'll see. Anyways, hope you guys have a great weekend. Houston out.